We begin today's show, as always, by thanking CHI St. Alexius Health Dickinson for their continued support of this program and the people of our communities. We are grateful to have them as our presenting sponsor and proud to have their commitment to Dickinson and Western North Dakota behind Western Edge Living. Today, you will meet a remarkable woman whose creativity has become a powerful way of telling stories. Linda Little is a sculptor from Dickinson, North Dakota, whose work captures the character, the history, and the spirit of the people and places around her. But Linda's story goes far beyond the art she creates. After suffering a brain injury, she faced challenges that could have changed the course of her life. But instead, she found ways to adapt, continue creating, and express herself through her art. And today, we'll talk about Linda's journey, her passion for sculpture, the inspiration behind her work, and how creativity can become a powerful part of healing and finding a new way forward. I'll meet you back at the studio, and we will tell Linda's story today here on Western Edge Living, presented by CHI St. Alexius Health Dickinson, and our program begins now. CHI St. Alexius Health Dickinson presents Western Edge Living.
Western Edge Living.
And we made it to the studio here at Western Edge Living, presented by CHI St. Alexius Health Dickinson. You know, in the morning when you wake up and you start thinking about what you have going on that day, that's happened to me this morning, and I got a little tinge of excitement because I realized that today was the day that I get to talk to an old friend, Linda Little. It's good to see you.
You too.
You came in today and you said this isn't our first rodeo.
That's right.
We've had the documented conversations in the past, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
This one's going to be a little different. And I just say that because I have more empathy for somebody who has had or has a brain injury. You know, having a stroke and the scar tissue and all that, and the recovery, the process that's involved. We'll get to that here in a minute. But first of all, you might know Linda. You've seen her work at the Stark County Veterans Memorial and in Medora and things. And you also have a piece that's on display as we speak at the Pentagon.
Two of them.
Two of them.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
How did that come to be?
Let's see. From the very beginning, I think it was all orchestrated by God. I happened to be in a place where the first one, I was in church here in Dickinson, North Dakota, and saw an image, and I felt that I was meant to create that piece. And I looked up, this sounds kind of funny, but I thought I saw a ship full of soldiers. And then I put my head down, I was praying, and I put my head back up, and I saw what looked like a bald eagle holding all of these soldiers, later called in the piece the Guardians.
So this vision came to you?
Yes.
Really? Have you ever had a piece that you've sculpted that also came to you in the same manner?
No.
Wow.
Nope. Honest to goodness, I wasn't quite sure if I was receiving a commission from the Lord or if my mind was just super active that day. And lo and behold, I'm giving credit to God.
Yeah.
It turned out that the piece, the vision that I was seeing, and I don't mean to insinuate that it was a vision that was like a beam coming down or something like that. It was just my eyes saw object, and that object quickly turned into something that would benefit the servicemen.
You suffered a brain injury in 1996.
Yes.
Prior to that, Linda, had you ever had experiences like that where you get a sign from a higher power or any divine intervention in your life?
No, I've always been an intuitive personality, but never, not that I recall. No.
Okay. And then July 7th, 1996, a day that I'm certain just changed your life.
It did.
Wow. Talk about that day. What happened?
My late husband and I were coming back from Poudre Canyon in Fort Collins, Colorado, on our way to DIA Airport, where we would pick up my son, and we never made it. We were turning left on 120th off of I-25, and a young man, at that time he was 16, he was enjoying the day as much as we were. It was a beautiful day, and he ran a red light, broadsided me, and I was the driver. Park was the passenger, and one of the first things I recall is a lady holding my head in the back seat. There wasn't any blood, which I'm very grateful for. All the injuries were internal.
Okay. Wow. Did you immediately realize that, wow, I can't talk, I can't move my limbs the way I want? What was that
No.
process like?
It was 3 days later.
3 days later.
They took us to the hospital, did a thorough examination, and in Colorado at that time, it was fairly busy, July 4th weekend, people hustling to get back and forth to where they'd been or where they were going. And the hospital was quite busy, emergency care. They did a couple of tests and said, she'll be okay, take her home. So they took me home, and 2 days later, I was in very bad shape.
Bad shape? How? What was going on?
My face had drooped,
Oh, wow.
and my husband said, I think she's got Bell palsy. Well, I had never idea. I thought it was something that old people got. Excuse me, but you know.
Yeah, understood.
And then my speech became slurred. Then I stuttered. And honestly, Bill, I thought I'd had a heart attack.
Really?
Or a stroke. Something that wasn't quite right.
And did you eventually find out did you have scar tissue in parts of your brain that was injured?
You know, I'm not quite sure how all of that panned out, but I ended up we had a friend who was closely connected to Mapleton Center, which is a head trauma facility similar to Craig's Institute, but on a smaller scale, and it was located in Boulder. And he said to my husband, you need to get her there right away. I'm real close with the director, and his profession was one that was involved with people like me at that time. And they took me there. He took one look at me, and I, at that time, then couldn't see light. It would actually make my eyes close, so I was unable to keep my eyes open for any length of time. Colors, anything, my life became very narrow. It's like looking down a tunnel. The stuttering became worse. Then I had no word search. I couldn't, a prime example is later on in the recovery process, I was home for a visit, and I passionately said, go to the Peacock and get something to drink. And I can recall my husband and my son looking at Mom like, okay, what's the Peacock? And my love language at that point, I'm going to call it that, became the Peacock was the refrigerator.
That was the Peacock? Really?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Linda, I know that you are a woman of faith. You
Yes.
mentioned God
Yep.
a few minutes ago.
Yep.
At any point, did your faith come into play, and did you have any fear while this is all going on?
Let's see. Did I have fear?
I don't think you did, just by the way you're reacting right now.
Yeah,
If
you
you have
know-
to think about it, well, it probably wasn't there.
Yeah, Bill, I didn't have any. I had, that voice that's deep inside of you, or that comfort that you get knowing that, if you want to call it the higher power, I choose to call it Jesus. I knew that he had my back. I didn't know how much I was going to have to go through. I have never thought of myself as a strong person, but I am a resilient person. So
Okay.
I really felt like whatever was coming, I wasn't ready for it, but I could be.
Now, this whole process transitioned to you becoming a sculptor, and
Yes.
it came from a certain individual. I believe his name is Valentine.
Valentine?
Okay.
Corvo, yep.
And he told you, "I will teach your hands to do what your brain cannot."
That's
How
exactly
did that
right.
resonate when you first heard
Oh.
those words?
I cried. I've had loss in my life, and particularly when Park died, my husband, your body cries without you really even realizing that everything is crying. That's what happened when he grabbed my hands. He quite literally took my hands, placed them in his, and said, Linda, I will teach these to do what this cannot.
Did he take your hands? Did he put clay in your hands
No,
right away?
he just held them tight.
He did.
His palm against my outside of mine.
Okay.
But I want to go back a little bit.
Okay.
Prior to that happening, I had been in this classroom situation for, probably a week or two. And I had come from another artist where the environment was quite protected. It was he and I. So I'd never been in a classroom where there were multiple people. So my brain was now learning the next step of commingling with people, or having tasks that might require me to look at a model that was over there and focus on what my hands were doing. So now I was in training for the second time in an art situation where my body was saying, okay, we got to learn how to look, and we got to learn how to work with the clay. We had a break. I came back in and couldn't remember a thing.
Speaking of break, when we come back, we'll talk about the first time your hands touched that clay.
Okay.
We're visiting with Linda Little today, a renowned sculptor from Dickinson, North Dakota, here on Western Edge Living, presented by CHI, St. Alexius Health Dickinson. We appreciate all our marketing partners here on Western Edge Living, presented by CHI, St. Alexius Health Dickinson. If it weren't for them, we could not do what we do. And we're visiting today with my friend Linda Little, the renowned sculptor, the infamous sculptor. I can say that now. You've got a piece on display at the Pentagon. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Wow. And the journey there is the story today, as we're talking about your brain injury. And okay, we were talking about the first time your hands touched the clay. The clay became your therapy. Talk about that.
Therapy for me at that point was giving life light.
Okay.
It was pretty dark for me. We talked a little bit earlier about faith and
Right.
fear of what might be happening. At that time, there was not fear that we know of, like a wildcat coming in and you become scared. I had the kind of fear that was introducing itself in a form of what tomorrow might hold. Can I do creative work? Because I certainly can't go back to what I was doing. I don't have the tools for that. And at this time, when I was able to touch the clay, came back from a break and realized that I couldn't remember how I was going from working on a piece and 20 minutes later coming back and having no knowledge of how I got where I was at. So my instructor at that time, Valentina Korhovo, a master from Russia, quite literally took my hands in his, palms around my hands, confidently saying, I will teach these to do what this can't.
Wow.
And the minute he did that, it was like the light bulb went on. I went from dark to light.
It was a defining moment, wasn't it?
It was.
Wow.
It was.
Wow.
And that man has taken me from a small lump of clay to volumes of clay that have created pieces for veterans memorials, home, private collections, hospitals. I now have 2 pieces at the United States Pentagon. The one that we began to speak about earlier was one that I felt came directly from God.
Mm-hmm.
That is memorial work for soldiers. And I happen to really have a fondness for what the guys do, signing on the dotted line and not expecting much from it as far as paychecks.
Wow.
So I try to pay back in the form of art.
You know, let's talk about the veterans and the memorial at the Stark County Veterans Memorial. There's the piece that you did, the life-size bronze of the soldier
Yes.
saluting.
Yes.
And I came to realize what that salute really means. We interviewed a POW, and for 6 years at the Hanoi Hilton, he was not allowed to salute. And so when he finally was freed and met one of the American soldiers that were transitioning him from Vietnam back to the United States, he talked about what it meant to salute and talk about that soldier and that sculpture that's at the Stark County Veterans Memorial.
That was a fun
I
time.
love this story,
It was
by the
such
way.
a fun time.
Yeah.
There were, I don't recall specifically now, it's been a few years, but as I recall, there were a minimum of 8 and possibly 12 veterans, one in particular that had a strong voice in the community about putting a veterans memorial together. Dave and his wife really were passionate about seeing that come together. And I'm not a drawer, but I felt it would be best if I could draw a couple of situations that would eventually develop into being a memorial. And the one that's currently up there was the one that was selected. And while I was doing that, I was drawing, and I got to the point where I was incorporating the soldier, and I looked at my husband, who was in the studio at that time, and I said, what is the highest form of respect, Park, that one soldier can give to another? And he looked at me and very clearly, like a soldier, well, a salute. And I was just like, oh, wow. He said, Linda, that's the highest form of honor. It's respect from one fella to another. There's ranks and profile, but that it passes all of them.
Now, what I like is who that soldier is that's at the Stark County Veterans Memorial saluting the wall.
Yeah.
Tell us who that man is.
That is a likeness of my late husband when he returned home from Vietnam after serving as a reconnaissance Marine in 65 through 67.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
I love that story so much. I had to
Good.
pull it out. Yeah,
Thank you.
I knew I had to bring that up today. You also have, I think you have something on display at the new library in Medora.
I do.
Okay, talk about that.
From what I understand, there was a gentleman, Mr. McQuaid from Bismarck, who has since passed away, but he was had a great appreciation for art, both paintings and bronze. And he walked into the gallery that I'm a part of in Bismarck and saw Teddy Roosevelt in the form of a mask. And that means just the face. And he acquired it and donated it to the administrative offices at the Teddy Roosevelt Library.
Wow.
And it was a surprise and quite an honor.
Man, Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library, the
Yeah.
Pentagon, and Gosh, your work is no stranger to Medora. If you go to the Rough Rider Hotel, you have Harold Schaefer and his son Ed. Talk about that piece.
That since actually, Bill, is been moved.
It has.
Okay. They have a walking trail in Medora that if you walk up those crazy stairs to the top of the peak,
That's
where
right.
Ed and Harold had a conversation. Harold was 55, Ed was 9, and they had a question and a conversation about keeping Medora alive, very similar to what Madame Medora had many, many years ago. And that is where that piece is currently resting, and hopefully it's its permanent home.
I'm glad you brought up Madame Medora. You also sculptured her likeness as
I
well.
sure
Yeah,
did.
talk about that.
Yep. That was another wonderful opportunity. Karen Putnam and her team from the foundation there came to my shop and inquired whether or not I would consider doing a piece. I said absolutely yes. She had an opportunity to come to my studio, and at that time I had several pieces that were representative of the prairie time. And she saw one in particular, and she felt very confident in asking me if I could do Madame Medora.
Wow.
And I absolutely agreed, yes, we'll do it. And that piece is resting in front of the Van Hoffman House. Yep.
Wow. This is amazing.
Thank
Is
you.
amazing. And what's on your plate? What as you look into the future? What are you working on now? What do you want to work on next?
Well, it's kind of crazy. In fact, yesterday, or no, let's say a week ago, it's the first time in 10 years that I don't have a project in my studio.
Oh, really?
I'm like, okay.
Are you getting antsy?
I am. So
An artist creates.
I am.
Yes.
And I'm not one to create more for myself. So it was brought to my attention that I should write a memoir.
Oh, my. Okay.
So I thought, what better time than starting now? I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm handwriting and then going to the computer and doing some typing where the machine can actually check my stop signs and the commas and all of that. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Right. Gosh, I appreciate you coming in today.
It's my pleasure.
Is there any question that I haven't asked or anything that you'd like to share with our viewer on today's program, Linda?
I appreciate the opportunity. It's always nice to come and visit you. I hope that our paths will cross again soon. We have.
I think you can count on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just want to say, having had a stroke, I do have scar tissue on my brain.
Yeah.
And assembling words is my career.
Yes.
And I too had no fear when I was recovering.
Yeah.
And but every now and then the frustration does come into play. It's like right now I'm struggling for the words, for the right words. You, Linda, you give me hope. You give me inspiration that you can recover the way that you have from your brain injury and excel to create pieces of art that the world, people around the world enjoy. Wow, from a brain injury. And I must say that it probably wouldn't have happened if it weren't for that brain injury. And am I fair in saying that?
You bet.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Linda Little, renowned, famous sculptor from Dickinson, North Dakota.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Yes,
I
you bet.
appreciate
It's
you
my
very,
pleasure.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Western Edge Living, presented by CHI St. Alexia's Health Dickinson. We'll see you next time.
Western Edge Living.